Happy Wednesday, Kipsters. We have made it to the end of September. It is September 30th today. Tomorrow is October. It has flown by. Hopefully, you guys are excited for the weekend coming up. I know I am. Today, we are halfway through the week. I hope you guys have been following along in the Nearpod lessons Monday and Tuesday. If you have not, I will ask of you to please go back and just take your time and watch those videos because these videos, especially moving forward, you're going to need the knowledge in those videos to continue on effectively. Although I will be trying my best to teach as clearly as possible, I still would like you to have that prior knowledge as well, just so this can be even that much more easier for you guys. To those of you who have tuned in every day, thank you. I'm so happy you are enjoying the lessons that I'm providing. Remember, this lesson specifically was provided by donors of my friends and family, your family, some of your families donated to the cause, all in the idea that we're going to be better musicians for the time that we will come together to play recorders. So we're going to need to know how to read music to play recorders effectively, and this is kind of the first step to that, okay? So this is all very important knowledge for us to continue to have increased growth throughout these months online, okay? Starting my timer now, making sure we don't go over, just so I can save your time as much as I want to save my time. Moving on, so again, if you're following along on the Nearpod, you should be on the slide that says Wednesday, September 30th, because that is what today is. Okay, Wednesday, September 30th. And when you are ready, we're going to go ahead and click next. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. If you have not caught up, to go ahead and catch up. And if you haven't and you need more time, just pause my YouTube video and then continue when you're ready. For now, we're going to click next. We're going to practice and show. So we're going to practice and show what we know. We learned yesterday the musical scale song. So today we're going to kind of go over that song just a little bit more. One more time, really, just to kind of get it in our head, and then we're going to move on into actually identifying notes on the staff. Okay, so quick little picture to put it in your brain. As you can see here, we have a musical staff. Remember, we talked about yesterday, I believe, that when we see these 5 lines, we are talking about a staff. And especially if those 5 lines have a treble clef symbol in them or a bass clef symbol, which we haven't seen yet. For now, we're going to look at this treble clef symbol, which is the black symbol on the left there that looks like a kind of an S, but isn't an S. That is a treble clef, okay? So anytime we see a treble clef sitting on 5 lines, we're looking at a musical staff, okay? So these are the notes on the staff and how they sit in the treble clef realm. And you can see also at the bottom there, we have a red C. That C is on its own line. So it's not on the treble clef staff. It's on its own line. It's on a ledger line. Remember, we talked about that a little bit yesterday, but we're not going to dive too deep into it. I'm just kind of giving you that knowledge. That C is on a ledger line. That D is on the space underneath the treble clef staff. You can see how it's on its own little space right underneath that first line. And then the first line of the treble clef, which we will continue to learn, is E, okay? And this is to give you a nice visual representation of how C goes back to C, just how G goes up to A after it gets to G. It doesn't go to H, it just turns to A, okay? Moving on to the next slide, if you're following along, which you should be. If you want to zoom in on your Nearpod, go ahead and do so now so that you can see these notes better. I'm going to zoom in as well so you can look on YouTube to watch with me and sing along with me. But this is the page we're working with right now. All right, I'm going to turn on my piano, and I'm just going to play this song for you guys one time without any words. Just play the notes for you, and then we're going to put it to words with me singing it, and then we're going to put it to words with us singing it, you and I, and then the final time is going to be just you singing with piano in the background, okay? So here is the notes without me singing. Okay. Now this time I'm going to sing along with it. All right, so think about what you just heard. And I'm going to sing along with it this time. Ready? Go. Musical scale, musical scale. These are the notes on the musical scale. C, 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 D, E, F, G, A, B, A, B, C. this part really helps when you put your the corners of your mouth backwards. C C C C C C C C. It really helps get those notes out there. Okay, one time with me, guys, singing along with me. You should have already watched your warm up video for this morning, so your voice should be ready to go. C C C C. One musical scale. 1, 2. Musical scale. Musical scale. Musical scale. These are the notes of the musical scale. C C C C C C C C C D E F G A B A B C. Okay, nice job. I'm gonna play piano. Hopefully, I play it well, and then you guys are gonna sing along with it. 1, 2, ready, go. Not bad. I'm gonna do it one more time with piano because I messed up a little bit. And if I mess up again, that's okay. It'll be nice for you guys to practice. One more time with the piano. We're gonna start right on musical scale, okay? 1, 2, ready, go. Much better that time for me. All right, nice job, you guys. Awesome. I guarantee you guys know this song as well as I do at this point. You guys are awesome singers. You have always been, and I trust your abilities. All right, here's the words to the song if you guys wanted to sing it one more time for your own good. But we are not going to sing it anymore today. Okay, moving on. Go. So we are moving on to learning the treble clef staff notes. Okay, so before we just learned the name of the notes, that it only goes up to A, it only goes up to G and then it repeats. Now we're going to be learning how to put those on a line and know what note it is based off of what line it is. Okay, we've done this before. Some of you may be very good at this already, and I hope you are. This will be a breeze for you. I love practice. You can never be better. You can never stop getting good at reading music. Okay, the music gets more difficult, the music gets more challenging, and the better you are identifying it quickly, the better you're going to be, the better musician you will ultimately be. Okay, so again, we have our C at the bottom there. Remember, that C is on its own line. All right, that is a ledger line C. That is middle C. Okay, it's called middle C because it's literally, if you were to stack a staff with the treble clef right there, right under that would be a staff with the bass clef. So the tubas and the bass boys, they have to read music too, but they can't read the notes on the treble clef. They can read them, but they can't sing them all the time. So they need to be able to sing notes in their world. So they have their own staff. That's the bass clef staff. If you were to put those two lines, if you're ever reading piano music, which I'm actually going to go backwards real quick, just to show you. So go backwards 2. Look on this musical scale. I should have did this earlier. I'm going to zoom in. Look on YouTube if you're not already there. Just look on YouTube. I'm going to zoom in. You can see here that there are 2 staffs here. And this is the piano part. The hard part about piano is that you got to play 2 different staffs at once. You got to be reading one thing with your right hand and then reading something with your left at the same time. At the same time, also differentiating because this second space right here is not the same as the second space in treble clef. So this is where it gets tricky. And we're going to talk about bass clef soon, but we're worried about treble clef. But if you were to imagine a line going directly in the middle of a treble clef staff and a bass clef staff, that would be where middle C sits. That would be where this C that says musical scale, that would be where that note sits, because it sits directly in the middle of the treble clef and bass clef staff, otherwise known as middle C. Sounds like this. This is middle C. It's literally in the middle of both of those staffs, okay? So again, bass clef staff is where the low notes live, the low people that sing notes, and then the treble clef staff is where the high people live, the high notes, the flutes, okay, the soprano singers. Okay, so just kind of wanted to give you a visual representation of that before we go on any further, to let you know about C. All right, after C comes the note D, okay? Of course, because we know in the alphabet, D comes after C, and it also is not on it's not on the staff, but it is right under it. So we don't really talk about how it's it goes between bass clef or not. It's just right under that staff, okay? So that is the note D. After D is when we start beginning to get in our actual staff notes where we can actually identify things, and it is the letter E, okay, on that bottom line. All right, and then go forward F, G, A, because we know after G comes the letter A. We're repeating B, C, D, E, F. And if you were to imagine that note going higher and higher, it would get higher, and the ledger lines would keep growing because the notes just keep stacking on lines, on lines, on lines, and it would go until it can't go anymore. All right, just like the other way, if we go C, it'll end up hitting a bass clef at some point. It'll go all the way to the bass clef, and then underneath the bass clef, it'll just go lower, lower, ledger lines, lower, lower, until it can't go anymore. Okay. We're not going to dive too deep into that, but just to let you guys know, music is sort of infinite, but not physically. It's not. Okay. Another visual representation of where these notes stack up. All right. And it's a good way to see some of the mnemonics that we're going to be talking about here, the acronyms we use to help us remember where the notes go. So as you can see, that C right there is on its own line, its ledger line. That D is on the space right under the staff. And then the notes after that all have their own space or line, except for G up there on the top, which we'll talk about as well. Okay, so we're going to look at the ones on the line first. As you can see on the right side, we're looking at the right letters. You should be on this slide that has a treble clef, and then the notes are kind of stacked on top of each other. As you can see on the right, we're going to start with that letter E. All right, every note on the line, I'm just going to say it from bottom to top. I'm going to say every note on the line from bottom to top. E, G, B, D, F. I'm going to say it one more time. E, G, B, D, F. It's funny how every letter kind of rhymes with E. Like it has an E on it. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So only A and F are the only ones that don't have an E on it. That's kind of interesting. Again, the letters on the five on the right. E, G, B, D, F. All right. On the left side, we have D and G on top of the staff and on the bottom of the staff. They're in their own space. We're not going to worry about them, but those notes are there. If you keep going up, they're just going to keep going up. One note lives on top of the staff. One note lives right under it, and that is D and that is G. Okay. G on the top, D on the bottom. In between those, in the spaces, we have four letters. You can see that green F at the bottom space there. F, A, C, E. You can tell that it spells, maybe you can't tell, but if you can't, you can see that it spells a word from bottom to top. If you read the letters from bottom to top, F, A, C, E. If you wrote that down, you would see that the word face comes. So a good way to remember the notes in the spaces is the word face is spelled in them. From the bottom to top, the word face is spelled in the spaces. So spaces equals face. Spaces equals face. All right. We have an acronym for the EGBDF, which you guys have probably heard. Every good boy does fine, or every good boy deserves fudge. We're going to talk about a little bit here as we move on to the next slide on Nearpod. So go ahead and click next. Okay. We're going to name these lines. Lesson number 5. Working on treble clef lines. Go ahead and click next if you guys haven't already. Sorry, I clicked through one quickly. So click through lesson 5, click through treble clef lines, and you should be on this slide that shows you the notes on the lines. E, G, B, D, F. Okay. We just talked about it a little bit. We're going to go through it and define it, dissect it a little more, and then move forward. Making sure our timer is in a good spot. We are on a great track. Okay. E, G, B, D, F. All right, we're going to give this an acronym. And as we can see, the next, our ledger line, our C is on a line as well, but remember it's not on the staff, so it's just on its own line down there. We make a line for it. When we're making that note, we make a circle and then we draw a line through it because it is on a line, but it's just sitting there right now. Okay, and these are the notes on the line in the treble clef that we'll be working with. Okay. The lines of the treble clef staff. So when we're talking about spaces, we saw that there was a word face, but we know that E, G, B, D, F, we know that's not a word. We don't even need to be told that. That's not a word. All right. It's just it's just a collection of letters. Some, luckily or somehow the spaces equals face, that became a word. Face was a word, but that was just pure coincidence. Okay, I'm sure this is not a word, so we have to come up with a saying to help us remember the order at least. All right, so is going to um, this one is going to help us remember the lines, and this is just one that they made up. All right, you guys can make up your own, which we're about to do here in a second. But this one is every good bear deserves fish. Say that with me. Every good bear deserves fish. One more time, go. Every good bear deserves fish. All right. This is a good acronym to remember if you want. All right. Just like I was saying, every good boy deserves fudge. Every good boy does fine. All right, and we usually read it from the E being the first letter. We don't read it from top to bottom. All right, we when we've done it in the past, or at least the way I've learned it and continue to have learned it through the years, we always start with the letter E at the bottom. All right, we're going from bottom to top on this. So here, what I want you guys to do, we're going to skip that slide with the bear. I want you to create your own acronym for the treble clef. Okay, and you can draw a picture to show it if we have time. If you have the time, I'm going to give you 1 minute to get this done, and then uh, I'll give you a couple minutes. But I'm going to do it with you, talk you through it, talk you through mine at least. You guys can do it on your own as well while I do it. But I'm going to type through mine. So we're looking for something that we can use to remember the notes on the treble clef line. So I'm going to do every. I like every. I think every is a nice word to remember. All right. I wish this box would move. Please move. Thank you.
Lesson 1.
Sorry, I knew that would happen. So we're going to do every because I like to do every. And we're going to keep good because I like goodness. Every good. Now we're looking for a B word. Let's do burrito. Every good burrito. All right, so we're on the right track here. We're thinking of Taco Tuesday, but it's Wednesday, so we want burritos. It's Burrito Wednesday. Every good burrito. What does good burritos do? Every good burrito. Let's do deserves and see what we come up with. See what we can think of with deserves there. Every good burrito deserves. What does every good burrito deserve? Every good burrito deserves. I'm gonna do another food. Fries. Every good burrito deserves fries. All right, maybe you guys can come up with something on your own there. I'm gonna put every good burrito deserves fries because I don't know. I don't really normally eat French fries in my burrito, but today we will because why not? Every good burrito deserves fries. Okay. Now, you don't have to use this one. You could literally do every good bear deserves fish or every good boy deserves fudge. You can do whatever you want, but become creative with it. All right. And I'm going to try and draw a burrito here. All right. I'm going to make my little plate. Let's see. Make a little plate. This plate's going to be kind of interesting. Here's a plate. It's like looking at it from the side. It's just so hard to draw on this thing. So slow and steady wins the race here. I'm going to draw a little plate. And the plate has like a little bottom to it, so you can see the bottom of it. And then on the top, I'm going to draw a burrito. I'm going to change the color of the burrito so it looks kind of like a burrito. I'm going to make a circle. Burrito and Chipotle and all that good stuff. Every good burrito deserves fries. Maybe Chipotle will start serving fries. And then on top of my burrito, sometimes you like to put guacamole. So I'm going to do some guacamole and draw some green stuff on there. And maybe some cheese, just some cheese on top. All right. So every good burrito deserves what? They deserve French fries. So I'm going to make a plate of French fries. I'm just going to make some French fries here. These are yellow French fries. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Draw your picture if you want. You don't have to, but it's just nice to get creative in the music class. We love that. All right. So moving on, submit your answer there, and we should be on to lesson number 6. naming the spaces. So we're going to do the same essential thing here, except we're going to be working with the treble clef spaces. You should have clicked forward twice. Sorry, I didn't say now. You should be on the slide that says FACE in the treble clef. All right. So if you're looking on YouTube, you should be on the slide that is playing at this moment. Okay. When we're talking about spaces, all right, we think of the word face specifically for the treble clef. This is not true for the bass clef. This is specifically for the treble clef. We think of the word face. Okay. So when we're thinking of how to find the spaces in the treble clef, think of the word face, and you will know that the bottom is F, the second letter, the second space is A, the third space is C, and the fourth and final space is E. Bottom to top. Remember, we're working bottom to top here, guys. All right. We also have notes on top and the bottom of the staff. They live up there because after F on the top of the line, every good boy deserves fish, every good boy deserves fudge. After F comes G. These notes keep going, so they have to have a space to live. That is their space. On top is G, on bottom is D. Now, I'm not going to really be too upset if you guys don't understand this part so quickly, the D and the G, because they don't really have mnemonics to help us remember them, but we do want to make sure we are focusing really intently on the FACE. That is the big ticket, okay? Moving on to the next slide. The spaces of the treble clef do spell a word, and we know what they spell because I've been talking about it. They spell the word face. You can see it pretty clearly there as it kind of separates the words and makes them a little bit off to the side. All right. We can also use mnemonics for these. So they like to use fish always carry elephants. Fish always carry elephants. I don't know about that, but they used it. So we can even be more creative and make up our own as well. All right. So we're going to move on. Next. You should be on the exit ticket. This is the last thing we're going to do. I want you guys to come up with your own acronym with the space equals face. You don't have to use fish always carry elephants. I'm going to do one. I'm going to do Fortnite. I'm just going to start with Fortnite and see what we can do. All right, you should do something like that too. Just start with Fortnite. Start with a word and see where you can go with it. Fortnite. Okay, I got one. Fortnite app. So we're talking about apps here. So if we're on an iPhone. If we're using Fortnite on app. Fortnite on iPhone. Fortnite app crashes every day. Every day. Fortnite app crashes every day. Fortnite app. So if we're on the Fortnite app on our phone, I don't know if it crashes because I don't get on the app, but I'm just going to assume it does because that's a very big game to be running on your phone. Fortnite app crashes every day. I don't know. Maybe you guys have something better than that. You can go ahead and do that in there now. I just put that because I thought it would be good. Okay. Fortnite app crashes every day. Think of your own. Draw a picture to show it if you want. And then you guys are, I believe, good to go. Okay. So once you get to the stop on the Nearpod, if you are not ready yet, you can just pause my video and complete your lesson. But otherwise, we are going to finish up and wrap up there. Okay. Awesome work today, guys. This is a new concept for us all. We're going to dive deeper into it even more tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that lesson. But until then, Mr. Isaac has 3 words for you. You are kind, you are smart, and you are important. Always remember that because it is always true. I will see you guys so soon. Until then, have an awesome day.